Hi everybody, Diana here at Heartfelt Creative. Welcome back to another So in Common Sunday. I hope you all had a lovely week. I had a super busy week. Had a good report from my doctor. Oh, I met a personal goal this week. I've been running. I started running again a couple months back now. But as of this week, I was running 5 miles a day, which was up from 3. And on Friday, I actually ran a 10K, which is, for those of us in the US, is 6.2 miles. So I ran 25 miles this week. I was pretty happy about that. I was just a sweaty, soppy mess by the time I was done, but it was pretty cool. And then on the weekend, I always give my body a time to relax and recuperate, because I have some old injuries, knee and hip and stuff that, my doctor said you have to take it a day or 2 off in the week to let your body recoup. So I do on the weekends. And that's when Dave and I, we do all of the stuff together, because he's working all week and I'm working all week. So, we do fun stuff like marketing and going to the garden center, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it was a pretty good week. Rainy, very rainy this week. Had a bad storm, but all in all, it's a good week. Just one of those busy weeks. And so if you've been watching with me now for a couple of weeks on So in Common Sunday, you know that I am making my own version of the Fat Quarter Shop Sewcialites quilt. So this plan, if you watch the other videos, I explain the whole thing, but all the patterns that they have done for this series, they've been doing a sew along, and it's all the patterns are free. So I'm not making the quilts that they are making over on their website, but I am taking some of the blocks that I like most and putting together my own quilt. And it's going to be more of a large wall hanging type quilt. It's not going to be a cuddle under or bedspread type quilt. But I did go ahead and purchase the binder. I always tell you this, but I don't know who's new or who's not. But I did purchase the binder so I can keep all of my patterns that I choose and all in it once I print them out. And I need to get those little pockets that you can put your papers in, because right now they're just sitting in here. But I will show you, for those of you who are new, the first week I did this block, and it was block number 18. It was the Hardy block by Corey Yoder. And then last week I did block 33, which was by Lori Holt, and she calls this the Inspire block. And I think it's, whoops, wait, let me make sure I'm holding it up right. Yeah, that's right. Which is the sewing machine. And all of these blocks are 2 colors. They're 2 fabrics. That's all I'm using in each one of them. So you can kind of do medium and dark, light and medium, dark and light, whatever kind of combinations you want. And I'm doing mine all scrappy. So like you can tell, there's nothing in common about these, right? In color wise and stuff. I really do love those. And I really loved how that turned out. They were just fabrics that I had that I enjoyed. And when I can, I give you the information on the fabric. So there is information on the other 2 videos about that fabric on those if you want to see it. For this week, I have done block number 4. It's called Spirited, and it's by Vanessa Gertzen. Is it Leila Boutique? I know who Vanessa is. I'm just not sure I'm pronouncing her business name correctly. But this block to me was the idea of spirited was intriguing to me, because I'm going to show you why. I'm going to flip the camera over and show you the block. This is the block itself, called Spirited. Now, I have used Firefly from Tula Pink, and this is one of the confetti prints, the dark blue confetti print from Tula Homemade. So those were the 2 fabrics. So this is an all Tula block. And if you know me, you know that there will be a lot of blocks in Tula, because I love her fabric so much. But what I found interesting, and I have no idea what the inspiration for any of the designers were when they created their blocks for this quilt along that the Fat Quarter Shop is doing. And so when I saw this one, because I think online they show it in a blue and white as well. Maybe, no, I think it's red and white. But anyway, I thought, this to me, this is a 6-pointed star. If you add it up, this to me is very much a Star of David and an Israeli flag. That just is what it seems to me, which is, I thought was very cool because I do have some Jewish ancestry. And so I really loved it. And I thought, here's the other thing I like about it too. If I did this block in these kind of warm colors that I did the Hardy block in, it would look really Southwestern to me, really like Native American type to me, which is interesting as well because I have Native American heritage on both sides of my family. So this block really kind of spoke to me this week. That's why I chose it. Like I said, I have no idea what Vanessa's inspiration for this block was or anything like that. And I'm not saying that what I see in this block is what she meant for us to see at all. It's just what I saw. And that's kind of the cool thing about quilting and all is that, they speak to us in different ways. And so I really love this one. I love how it turned out in these. I didn't want to make it like a really strict looking flag type of a block since I saw that, but I did like the idea of doing the dark and the light. And of course these two bright little colors in here, I think it just makes it go, wow. And I love it. But I wanted to show you today, I'm actually going to show you, I'm going to sew a little for us today because I wanted to show you something. Doesn't this look like it's super complicated? Like I've cut out all these little strips. I don't know that I would have done this block if that's how it was done, because that's an awful lot of small cuts because these are 9-inch blocks. All this block is some squares and half square triangles with flippy corners. Isn't that wild? So all 4 of these start out as a half square triangle. And then we add a flippy corner to it. So I thought today what I would do is I put together a little half square triangle for a Good Gadgets video. And then I cut myself out 2 corners to make flippy corners. And we'll see how this works. So what you want to do is you want to make yourself a half square triangle. This one is 4.5 roughly. And then I cut out a 2-inch square from each of these fabrics. On the back of the little squares, I just have made myself a line from corner to corner. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and pin this one, so the one that looks like this fabric, to this side, right up there in the corner. I'll take myself a little pin and just pin it on until I get over to the sewing machine. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to set it up in this corner. So top left, bottom right, basically. And I'm going to pin that one on. There we go. Now I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch down this line and stitch down this line. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, excuse me so much. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just felt like I sneezed my lungs out of my body. I'm so sorry. Please excuse me. Oh. So I'm going to stitch from here to here and here to here, right on the line. So let me flip the camera over to the sewing machine and we'll go over and do a little stitching on these. Because I thought, I don't make these blocks each week in front of everyone because this is kind of like my sewing journey, my sewing diary, and you certainly I don't think want to watch me make a block from start to front. That would be a long video, and I'm not sure it would be overly interesting. So I have it pre-made, but then we talk about it, right? But on this one, I thought, you know what? This little part is definitely worth doing a little demo on to show you how that block gets made without making all those little rectangular cuts of fabric. So that one is sewn on. Now I'm going to take out this pin on this side and just sew this one on. I'm just going right down the line. You can use something like this. Oh, I forget what it's called, but it's a tape. It's like a washi tape that sticks. You line it up with the center of your needle and try not to get it all stuck together. The center of your needle, and you bring it down, and then you can just follow that red line. Or if you have a laser on your machine, you can follow it with that. So, but just for something so quick and simple, this kind of old-fashioned way of marking your fabric is just quick and easy. And I just used a little pencil. You could use wash away pen, or your heat erasable pen, or air erasable pen, or water erasable, whatever you wanted for that. I'm going to flip the camera back over. Okay, so now I've got my little piece and I've got my little flippy corner. I'm going to flip the camera again, because now what we're going to do is cut this part off. So I'm going to get it in the right spot. I'm going to put my 1/4 inch mark right on my sewn line. And I know that's hard for you to see because I used light gray thread on white fabric. So let's just, let me mark that with a heat erasable pen. So now you can see the mark a little bit better. There, I think that gives you a little better. That light was a little too intense. There. So now you can see the mark. That's where my sewn line is. So I'm just going to put my 1/4 inch mark on that line and take my rotary cutter and just cut off my corners. And I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. Let me darken this line up a little bit so you can see it. So there you can see the line. Now I'm just going to line that up with my 1/4 inch. And now we have this look to our block. And all we're going to do now is bring in, oh, that sneeze just really set off my allergies in my nose. Now we're going to bring in the pressing mat and the iron, and I am going to set my seams, and that gets rid of that heat erasable that I just used. And I'm going to do my precision piecing conditioner on my seams. I'm going to flip that one over and press. And I'm going to put my tailor's clapper on there. If you have any questions about why am I using a tailor's clapper, what is this about, go check out my Good Gadgets video series here on YouTube. And I believe it's the very first one. You'll see a picture. There's always a picture on those thumbnails so that you can see what we're showing that week. And I think it's the very first one. And I show tailor's clappers and what they're used for. So I condition that one and set it. And I'm going to flip that and press. My tailor's clapper on there. Between those two products, you just get really flat things. Now, I'm going to do a little straightening up over here on the side a little bit. Not that this is going into anything, but I still like my blocks to look good. This will go in the scrap bin and someday it'll get sewn into something, but so might as well have it nice and straightened up, right? And I'm not concerned with like what the size is. Like I said, it's not meant to be a specific size for a specific pattern. It'll just end up going into a patchy quilt someday. All right, so there we go. Now it looks like we have this striped effect going on, just like it did here on the spirited block that I made for this week. And so that's the technique for that. And so if you want this look in your own block, your own quilt block, for some reason, you can certainly do that without any problem at all, just by making yourself the half square triangle, adding some flippy corners, and then you're done. Pretty quick and easy. And it, boy, it sure saves you. Can you imagine having to cut out all those strips? And no, that's just not, that would not be my thing. I'm just trying to get this turned back around. But that's how easy that is to do. I'm going to flip the camera. You're going to see the sewing for a second. We'll flip it back. There we go. So I'm going to, as I do every week, I'll put all the links down in the description so that if you want to go check out the patterns, you can do that. You can, I think we're getting close. I think this coming Friday, the 2nd of July, I believe is the last live Sew Along episode for Sewcialites over at the Fat Quarter Shop's website. But as of now, all those patterns are still available. So if you want to grab some of them or all of them, they were free. All, you know, it was really nice of all these designers to design these patterns and give them away for free. And you can, they have the pattern over there if you want to make the quilt they made, and it's a beautiful quilt. I just don't want to make a big full quilt. I wanted something a little smaller, and you know me, I always change things up, right? You know that by now with me, right? I have a really hard time coloring and sewing in the lines. But you can check out what you want. You can make the ones that I'm showing you, do whatever you want. And please join me in my Sew in Common Facebook group and show us what you're making. Love to see them. Because I know that you all have imaginations going on, and you'll figure out, you'll either want to make that big, beautiful quilt that they're making, or you're going to want to make your own. You could, they give you 3 sizes, 3, 6, and 9 inches, but you could figure out how to bump these up and make 12 or 18-inch blocks to make like a, maybe all you want is something like this, but you want it bigger so that you could make a cushion cover. You could sure do that. You could bump the sizes up. You could, by looking at the sizes they've used here and knowing the size that you want it to be at the end, you could easily figure out. That's easy math. And you could, that's the stuff we learned in grade school. So I know you can all do it. And you could make yourself some beautiful cushion covers, or you could make your blocks bigger and make a 4-patch wall hanging or table topper. You could do a lot of stuff with these blocks, and it's a whole library of free blocks, my fellow quilters. So at least go grab them, and thanks, give a shout out and a thanks to Fat Quarter Shop and the designers if you do, because it certainly was nice of them. So that is Sew in Common for this Sunday. So next week, I've got a few more of these blocks to go. So we're going to be doing these blocks for a few more weeks. There's a few more of them I want to do to make the piece as big as I want it. So this series is going to go on for a little while. And then when this quilt is done, I've already got an idea for the next Sew in Common Sunday. And that's going to be all my designs. That's going to be all applique. It's going to be applique, and those designs I'm going to make available all to you, downloads and stuff like that. I don't know if they'll all be free, but if they're not, I'm getting strings off me. Sorry, I shouldn't do that while I'm live, right? Some of those designs will be free, and some of them might be a modest fee, like $1 or $2. Okay, so, but those will be mine, and I'm working on that series now. So while I'm doing this series, and already have my instructions and all to make them because there's someone else's blocks, then I'm putting my time into making the next series that we're going to do in Sew in Common, which are my designs. And you can even get those and do those along with me. Don't forget, folks, go over and join the Sew in Common group. It's a great group of folks, a really talented group of folks, and super kind, and always willing to have one more person join us. I heard a saying this week: be the girl that always says, come sit by me. There's always room for one more. That's how I like to think of that Sew in Common group. There's always room for one more, or 2, or 20, or a bazillion, whoever wants to come and join us. And also remember, right here on YouTube, I have my Good Gadgets series each week, where I talk about different tools and things that we use in our stitching, quilting, embroidery, and all that kind of stuff. This week, I talked about different types of square up rulers. So if you're someone that ever has problems doing squaring up your squares, or squaring up your half square triangles and things, this week's Good Gadgets shows you 3 different varieties of square up rulers. And that might help you, because you might find one that you go, oh, that's what I've been looking for. And then, of course, always on Monday, Patches and Pieces Monday, where I take a different block, we break it down, and we put it back together in the video. I have been having a live every Monday, and this coming Monday, during the live, there is going to be a big, huge announcement coming. So come and join me on Facebook, on my Facebook page, Heartfelt Creative with Diana. Links, all that info is here in the description, because there's going to be a big announcement coming, a whole new thing. So I hope to see you then. That's at 1 o'clock Central Time. That's 7 o'clock in the UK. And then you can always look on the wall of time, which has come to be known, the wall of time, where you're at: UK, Eastern US, Central US, Mountain Time US, and Pacific Time US, and figure out what time that is for you. But it's always 1 o'clock Central Time. All right. Have a great rest of your Sunday, everybody. Enjoy your family. Enjoy some stitching time. Maybe carve out an hour or so just for yourself to go and do a little stitching. If it's not quilting, maybe it's something on your embroidery machine. Maybe it's a little hand stitching, maybe a little cross stitch, maybe some knitting or crochet. Anything you like to do, just take an hour for yourself. All right, everybody. Love you all. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great weekend, and see you next week. Bye now.